Hello and welcome to Gadget Guide USA. Thanks for watching my Evolva Future Technology D02 Scuba Diving Underwater and Photography Flashlight and Torchlight, whatever you want to call it. Essentially it came with everything you see here. It was shipped to me with actually another flashlight from Evolva. You should have already watched the review if you're a subscriber. But if not, essentially it was shipped to me with this and another Evolva flashlight inside of an Amazon Prime box. Exactly what you'd expect. This isn't an unboxing. I've already actually busted this out and used it over the previous weekend or two ago for a canoe trip. I only used it in snorkeling conditions, not scuba diving conditions, but everything worked fine. I mean, maybe the deepest I got was 8 feet and with an average of like literally 3 or 4 feet. It's not very deep where I go, but it's a lot of fun, you know, just nothing special there, just kind of checking it out. So this, instead of just being your standard underwater flashlight, this is really angled at photography, and I'll explain why here in a second, but of course we'll start off with go ahead and what's in the box. We have your standard instruction manual. It goes over, you know, it's made out of exterior anodized aluminum to prevent corrosion. It's got tempered glass so it can, you know, not break at 100 meters in the pressure. It has 4x XPG2 LEDs, and we'll go ahead and grab the front, and you can see that there. If I can get that to focus eventually. Yeah, there we go. You can see the 4 white LEDs and the 2 red LEDs, which is why this is photography, and we'll get more into why that's important here in a second. It tells you that it has both white and red, and it will also strobe. So it essentially has 6 different settings. It has high, low, and strobe for white, and then high, low, and strobe for the red. While the high is a maximum of 900 lumens, and the red is a maximum of 280 lumens, which is strange because the XPG2, each LED, well, I guess it's not strange. I know why. Well, we'll get to that. It has 4 XPG2 version 2. These are an upgrade to the original XPGs, and they're capable of putting out 586 lumens per, which is a total of well over 2,000 lumens, but you have to remember you're being pushed by a single 18650, so they rate the lumens at 900 lumens. I almost think that's an underrated. It may not seem very bright to you, but the reason it doesn't focus is because it's a photography flashlight. It's made to have a 110-degree field of view, so it stretches out wide as opposing to making a cone of light, which is very important for underwater photography. And we'll get more into that during the product review. It tells you how to automatically switch the modes, how to charge the battery, some of the beam features. That's the feature I was talking about, the beam angle. It's 110 degree, you know, so for you're taking photos or video, you don't have to like keep the, you know, the flashlight perfectly centered. Ball joint, and we'll get into that, which I didn't have any use for. You can put in the battery backwards, it won't explode. I think that's normal, but they act like it. Warning, don't modify it. And this is one important thing, not just for this flashlight, but for any underwater flashlight that has O-rings. Make sure they recommend you use silicone grease, but in reality you can use any kind of you know, petroleum lube that does not eat away at the plastic. Like you wouldn't want to use something like brake fluid. That would actually ruin your O-rings over time. So we're going to go ahead and look at what came with the device here. Of course, inside here is a 18650 battery. That is included with the flashlight, very important, because 18650s are not something you just walk to Walmart and buy. You can easily order them from Amazon or eBay, but there it is. It's a 18650 battery, and this has some type of sleeve. So if you want to use a larger battery, which I think is a 26650, you can actually put it in there and it will last longer and all that stuff. I don't have any of the, well, let me make sure I get the number right. It says it also uses a 26650 battery. Yeah, I don't have any of those to test it out. I have tons of 18650s though, so I'm going to stick with that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and screw that back on there. If you want to notice that it has all those O-rings, and that's what I was talking about, it has a 3 O-ring system to make sure that it's really waterproof in there, and you can actually kind of see some lithium grease here, which is what I used, and it worked fine. But just be sure and take care of those O-rings. If you don't, they lose their suppleness and their flexibility, and you lose water resistance. You'd have to, you know, do a lot of work to actually do all that, or a lot of time of not taking care of them. Just be sure, and you know, you can buy a package from AutoZone or Walmart. It's a small package of lithium grease, and just hit it with the tubes. It lasts forever. Fold it up, put it back in the shed. It'll be good for years. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so it includes the charger, which where you charge the 18650 battery, or 18650 battery here. You should recognize this as a standard micro USB to USB cord. You just plug that in there, and then plug this into any live USB port you wanted. I used a charging port from a Samsung S6, and it charges pretty quick. You can use a PC or a laptop to charge it, but just to note, if you charge it with a PC or laptop, it will charge slower than if you charge it with, say, a cell phone brick or something specifically made for charging, just because PCs require quite a bit lower amperage than a phone charger. Of course, you see I didn't actually use this. I have tons of these, but just to get the point across. And we have all that. This actually USB port does light up when you put the battery in there, and it does have indicator lights to tell you when it's charging and also when it's full, so that's kind of important. We don't want to overcharge. Another thing that came in the package that I don't want to act like a super knowledgeable guy about, I do understand the process, but I didn't really have any personal need for it. It does come with 2 O-rings, so if you don't take care of those O-rings, you got a couple replacements, but like I said, just a little grease on the O-rings will take care of them, like, I don't want to say forever, but essentially forever. This is one thing. This is a ball mount, and it's made to screw into the camera. It's, of course, doesn't actually go inside, or not camera, the flashlight. It goes inside the flashlight, and you can use this ball mount to mount it to something that you wanted. I have no use for this ball mount. I could not figure out which of my camera devices, and I have a ton of camera stuff, this would actually mount to. Maybe that somebody, a professional underwater photographer, might understand this, but essentially all it is this. It comes with a screw, and you screw it in there. We're just going to go ahead and give you an example. And you screw this right on. Of course, it's pretty simple. It came with this as well. The Allen wrench also came with it, so we get in there and get it tight. And if you have some type of ball mount camera stuff, which I don't, you can mount it to the ball. So, like I said, I didn't have a use for it, but some of you might. Oh yeah, we gotta use the Allen wrench here. So we got rid of that. If that's something that's really important to you, then great. However, I have no clue what it means or what it's about, and I don't want to pretend to be knowledgeable in areas that I'm really clueless. I have done quite a bit of underwater photography and underwater camera work, but I've never needed the ball mount. I essentially, on a low budget, so I'm using the flashlight. So we're going to go over the 6 modes of the flashlight here. First, you're going to see the exterior anodized aluminum shell. It's really nice. It definitely feels like it's a worthwhile flashlight in your hand. It has some heft. It's not overly heavy, but it's not like this light piece of junk that you just, when you pick it up, you instantly know that it's worthless. It actually has a lot of heft to it. It looks good. It looks well made. It has this knurled end to make screwing and unscrewing the battery really easy. And also, when you're holding it, it gives you, a good grip here. So one thing I really like about these Evolva flashlights, not just the D01 for photography, but also their professional underwater flashlight, is this switch right here. It is quite an upgrade from your standard push button underwater flashlight. You just slide it like that. It's a lot more natural, and basically I'm just turning it on and off rapidly here. When you have this wrapped around your wrist, it just seems to make a lot more sense to grab it and push it forward than it does to look, where's the button, now you can just kind of push it forward. I like the switch. Is it like a groundbreaking, oh my god, this button changed my life? No, it's not. But it is a small convenience, and it is an upgrade to a standard one, so it's definitely worth mentioning. Another upgrade worth mentioning is this little neoprene sleeve. When I wear the flashlight, I generally wear it and then just kind of forget about it. It hangs on me. I'm soaking wet, and this lanyard will kind of rub against my wrist. It's not what I would describe as painful, but it does get irritating, and I would have like a little, braided mark across my wrist, and maybe if I wore it, had to carry it for a longer period, it might actually become painful. However, it has this neoprene sleeve, which I never even realized I needed until I used it. It adds a certain level of comfort, especially when this thing is bouncing up and down. There's just no discomfort. This way, you can actually forget the flashlight exists until, bam, you need it. So I definitely like that upgrade to the neoprene sleeve. It seems like such a minor thing until you actually wear it, and then you're like, wow, what a good idea. But you can see it comes with a good wrist strap. This has only been wet one time, but it's still in great shape as far as I'm concerned. But that's just another little tiny minor upgrade of the flashlight itself. And you have the knurl edges and the aluminum. I think we already went over all that. So now we're going to go over the light patterns. Right now I believe this is on high. Don't let the brightness fool you. It's really bright, but like I said, it's a 110-degree field of view, so that when you're working, underwater, you don't have to exactly point the flashlight right at what you're recording. So we're just going to go ahead and just change modes. You just hold it up for a second. So okay, actually that was low. This is bright. All right, so that's the supposedly the 900 lumens. And I'm going to go through these in the dark. And then here's the red. That is the red, and I'll explain why red is important. The way light behaves in water is much different. It's 800 or 800, or yeah, 800 times more dense than water. So light just behaves differently, and I can get into refraction and all that. I'm actually, but you don't want to hear that garbage. The thing is red, almost all red light disappears once you get 5 meters or deeper, which is about 15 feet. So if you've ever tried to take underwater photos at, a depth below 15 feet, you have no red at all. Even at 5 feet, red starts to dissipate rather quickly. So you have red there, so you can actually, and that's the brighter red, so you can add more life to your photos. So once you lose red, if you've ever had a TV that's losing red, or take a computer monitor and turn the red all the way down, it just makes things look lifeless and dull, and green takes over, and everything just kind of looks murky, and we don't like that. So if you're in between, say, 5 and 15 feet, or actually even deeper, you can actually use this red light to add life to your photos. It will add a certain color that is missing and makes your photos look lifeless. So it's actually a big deal to be able to cast red light. Any professional underwater photography flashlight will have red. And then you can see that we have the white strobe there. That's the red strobe there. And we are back to low white. And I'm going to just turn the light off here. So right now we have our low white, which I think the manual says, and we can use this flashlight to read it, that low is right now 400 lumens of white. But just remember, it's not a focus beam. It's a wide 110 degree beam. So it may not look as bright, but when you're underwater, it gives you a nice picturesque type light. So then this is high, which is 900 lumens on white. And now we should switch to red, which it's hard to read in red, but this is low, so this should be 120 lumens of red. It may look kind of creepy, of course, when we're above water, but like I said, once you get below, between 5 feet and 15 feet, you lose red, and below 15 feet, you have no red in your pictures at all. So it's very important that you have some red should you be shooting at 5 meters or deeper, which is 15 feet. To make sure that you can add life to your photos. Alright, so this is the second red, which is 400 lumens, I think. No, 280 lumens, I'm sorry, the high red. But like I said, you really can add life, in water. Alright, so this is the strobe, which should be 900 lumens strobe on white, which is, it's pretty bright, and it's lighting up this whole room, even though, it's just a flashlight. So now we have the red strobe, which is the 280 lumens as well. You can only strobe on the highest settings. You don't have high strobe and low strobe. So now we are back to low white. But overall, if you are looking for a photography flashlight that is reasonably priced, has a metal frame, has red light, everything you need to go underwater, then this is definitely a solid choice. I've very much enjoyed playing with it over the weekend, even though I haven't taken it to 100 meters. I would like to, but at the same time, there's logistics behind that go beyond a product review. And of course, I keep promising it works in water. And as much as I'd love for you to take my word for it, that's not the way the Gadget Guide USA works. We test everything for real, and we test it on the highest settings. So you can see here it's just a string, there's nothing special. This ball does not need to be in for waterproof, it just goes to a dead end. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and toss it in and prove to you that it works underwater. I've already seen it underwater, so I know it works, but at the same time I want you to see. Remember, this is only an inch of water. It says up to 100 meters. It should have no issue at all with this. And as you can see, it doesn't. We can shake it, we can whack it. I mean, it's fine, it's waterproof. But overall, I was very impressed with the construction, and for the price of this, it seems to be a good deal. It's very solidly made, it has heft, and I definitely enjoy that. It has the, blind you here, it has the 4 XPG2, which is the version 2 of the XPG Cree LED lamps, and it has 4 of them. And it's capable, theoretically, the 4 LEDs are capable of pushing 2,000 lumens, but this flashlight only says 900 lumens, which, I don't know, they may be kind of underrating themselves there. Just due to the wide angle, it's kind of hard to tell. So we're going to put it back in the water, though. But overall, the Evolva D02, as you can see there, is a solid choice. If you're planning on doing any photography and you want to add some red light to add some life to those pictures or video or whatever you're doing, this is definitely a solid choice. Let's go ahead and put this on red, the brightest red. Just show you there's no difference there, and you can kind of get an idea that actually looks pretty cool. But overall, definitely the Evolva Future Technology D02 Scuba Diving Underwater Flashlight and Diving Torch definitely gets an approval from the Gadget Guide. It's well made, it works, and it's value priced. It's definitely something I could recommend. I hope you enjoyed my review today. Comments are always welcome at the bottom of the page. Subscriptions are always appreciated. Thank you. And if you ever have any specific questions, comments, or suggestions, please email me at GadgetGuideUSA@gmail.com. Thank you for your time.